Hello, and welcome to the premiere edition of Optics, a featured artist in the Griffin Gallery at WinCAM. My name is Paula Tognarelli, and I'm the Executive Director and Curator of the Griffin Museum of Photography here in Winchester. The Griffin Museum operates several satellite galleries in the area, but we're pleased to announce that we are opening one right here in Winchester at WinCAM on 32 Swanton Street. Our first featured artist is Jamie Collins. Jamie has over 24 years of industry experience as an award-winning graphic designer and photographer. He specializes in product photography, environmental portraits, and architecture. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Paula.
I'm really excited to have you here. You and I have probably known each other over the 2 years. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to how you and I got to know each other?
We met through the Atelier program, and that's a program that the Griffin Museum offers to help photographers establish their fine art portfolios and develop their CVs and their artistic statements and bring their body of work to life in a group exhibit at the Griffin.
So did you develop this particular Patio Life during that class?
I did. I had the idea coming into the class,
Mm-hmm.
and a friend of mine actually had recommended the Atelier program. He had done a preceding one a few years ahead of time, and having gone to the opening that was there at the Griffin and seeing his work and all the other his classmates' works, it was a great experience to see just the variation of the work and how it all comes together. And being a commercial photographer, this was very helpful on the fine art side of things, because it was kind of a left brain and a right brain kind of experience for me. So putting together an interesting portfolio, which happened to be Patio Life, really helped it. I had the idea of Patio Life before coming to Atelier, but that really sort of allowed me to really drill down and get to a specific body of work. Yes. Plus the exposure you get from all the other your fellow classmates, and through the course taught by Meg Birnbaum, that was very helpful in the exposure of learning fine art artists. So it was a great experience.
Can you tell us a little bit about your profession?
Yeah, so I mentioned I'm a graphic designer and a commercial photographer, and I specialize in product and portraiture. And it can be inside, outside, artificial light, or natural light for the people, and products I focus on a lot of smaller medical instruments, and kind of it's a good fit for the
it really is. It's almost like you're taking your portrait photography to a macro level and examining nature.
Yes.
Can you talk about Patio Life?
Yeah, so Patio Life came to life basically at home. Everything is shot in our backyard, and every night we go out and we look for the hummingbirds to hit the hummingbird feeder. So, we sit in the chair and kind of space out, watch the birds come in, see if they feed. So every night up there looking at the feeder, a wasp would come and it would land on kind of the arm of the wooden chair across from me. Every night the wasp, it comes and it goes, flies away, comes back. So I took our macro lens here and took a picture of it and blew it up on the monitor, and saw that the wasp had a bunch of wood in its jaws or mouth, and I discovered that it was like dredging the wood of the chair, and what it does, it flies away and it mixes the saliva in its mouth with the wood of the chair and flies away and builds its nest. So at that moment I kind of said, what else has we got going on back here? What else is happening? So I started taking a lot of close-up photos of the various insects that I'd find and do some research and discover kind of what it is they're doing. So through curiosity, I wanted to just learn more what was happening in the backyard of things we typically don't see, but that's going on right in front of us all the time. You
talked about discovery. I'm sure you saw from a bird's eye, not a bird's eye view, but a worm's view, what's actually happening all around you that nobody really thinks about. So what was the kinds of things that you discovered? Did it change some of your perspectives about the world?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's like such an ecosystem, right, that's happening back there. So some of the behaviors are just very interesting. I never knew existed. For example, there was, I'm looking around, I flip over a little piece of wood that's out there, and I discovered a caterpillar. So I'm like, oh, this is a great shot. It's a slow-moving, easy to capture kind of thing. So I shot it, and I discovered that it literally isn't moving anywhere. It's just sort of frozen there. So I took a picture, and then later researched like kind of what's going on, and ID'd the bug and discovered that it's a parasiticized caterpillar, which means some type of parasitic wasp will sting and inject its larva into the caterpillar. So the caterpillar plays host to the larva, and the larva feeds on the internal organs of the caterpillar to stay alive. And then when it's time to come to life, they eat their way out of the caterpillar and then go about their business. So the caterpillar acts as like a living host to the wasp.
Wow.
And stuff like that. There was another time a beetle kind of fell out of the sky in a way and landed, fairly large-sized beetle, and just landed on the sofa cushion. It was covered in these red spider mites, maybe not the tiny mites, but they were like, 1/8 of an inch size. And I thought these spider mites were eating the beetle, like from the outside. So it turns out they really weren't, but the beetle was giving the mites a ride to carrion, because the beetle, all right, follow along with this. The beetle lays its larva into carrion. On the carrion is maggots feeding on the flesh of the animal, right? So normally the maggots would eat the larva of the beetle, but instead the mites that are on the beetle's back hop off and eat the maggots. Therefore, it helps the offspring of the beetle live.
Yeah.
So something to that. I'm not an entomologist, but that's kind of like the story. So it's like
did
things
it change your thinking about bugs?
Yeah.
So that they're not creepy little things.
And then that was part of the things. Like I wanted to have them happy representations of the bugs, and let's be maybe less reactive and swatting them away or hurting them, because they all are doing a job in our backyards or porches or wherever it is they may be. So be less reactive, hopefully, and maybe less scared. Even the spiders may creep some people out. So I was trying to shoot colorful backgrounds.
Yeah.
Happy environmental shots where they're not too scary.
Yeah. So you've had several exhibitions since developing this project. Who are the audience?
Kids, I would say, and adults alike. They both bring a unique, fresh perspectives. When you see that, it's always nice to get their reactions when they look at a bug or insect. And a lot of times, from what I've gathered, is a lot of the children, they will see the bug and they'll put a name and a personality and give them a whole kind of persona. So it's very interesting to hear how that works, and hopefully they're not as creeped out. They a lot of times think it's pretty cool, or it's spiders and dinosaurs and sharks.
Girls and boys alike,
girls
right?
And boys, and I've heard the kids were showing the parents the exhibit and vice versa. So it kind of, it's nice to see it. It's been enjoyed, I guess, by both adults and kids.
We have about 25 photographs in this particular exhibition.
Yes.
Are any of those 25 your favorites?
Yeah, I like the mantis a lot, and I like the spider.
Yeah.
I think because the jumping spiders strangely it feels like they have a personality. They don't always run away from you when you approach them, so they kind of look back at you and tilt their head and give you an interesting pose. So when you're shooting them, it feels like you actually are having a photo shoot with another, something that's reacting to kind of giving you an attitude here, or a different look here and there. So I like them, and they're tiny. They're only like 1/8 of an inch. So they're little guys or girls,
But on the wall, they're how big?
30 inches.
30 inches. So you have successfully blended your professional life with your artistic life, in my opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think this gives that opportunity. I love photography and I love shooting, so being able to take, if you're having a photo shoot with a human being, looking for similar characteristics in what the bug gives you back, and then in terms of lighting, how you'd light maybe product photography, or just having the ability to light the insects for most of the time, or reflect light, or take advantage of the technical aspects and marry the two of them together has been kind of very helpful.
And you're actually going to do a workshop, correct?
That's
on
right, yeah.
Macro photography
Thank you,
and
yes.
lighting?
Yep, so it'll take, we'll cover everything, excuse me, from lighting, which is really everything in macro photography, whether we want to light it with artificial lighting or if we're going to use some bounce cards, but really about creating different backgrounds and color and presenting something that when you see it, the end result, it's not just a black background with your subject in focus, but really trying to, see our subjects in different planes, the background and the foreground, and marrying the two.
For those in our audience that aren't photographers, can you speak to macro photography? What is that?
So I'd say macro is basically a close shooting style of photography where what you see on the camera is what you get at like a 1-to-1 ratio. So it will register on your sensor as to being the life size as it is in its reproduction.
So to do that, you need special equipment.
Yes, you can do a few things to not necessarily buy a dedicated macro lens. You can reverse a lens, you can reverse a couple lenses. They're a little more challenging to shoot when you do that, but for the most part, a dedicated macro lens is a great way to get started, and it allows you to approach your subjects to within a certain minimal working distance, and that will vary between, say, 2 to 3 inches up to about 12 inches. So,
are any of these macro lenses?
yes, this is a 200-millimeter lens, and what this allows you to do is your working distance is about 12 inches from the subject to the lens. So it allows me to stay away from the wasp so I don't get stung in the face or something like that. But the smaller macro lenses, you'll have to focus at 1-to-1. You'll have to be a little closer, like at 3 inches. So it's a lot more invasive probably to the bug.
Are you shooting digitally?
I am.
Yeah.
Everything is digital.
Have you always shot digitally?
I started with film
You did?
and did
Yeah.
the darkroom and the processing and slides, and eventually crossed over into the digital. And
Okay, and predominantly color?
yes.
Yeah. And do you do anything to augment the color in your photographs? I mean, they're stunning.
Thanks.
And bright.
Thank
and
you.
engaging.
Typically, it'll be, you get your basic kind of processing, but I try to leave the colors as is for nature. And part of that is taking advantage of the bright backgrounds that we see in the yards, the yellows, the greens. It could be the background of a vase that's sunlit, or it could be the grass that gets really nice and green. It could be the arborvitaes, and it could be a red vase. It could be the leaf of one of the plants. It could be your neighbor's house across the street. So wherever that sun's hitting in the background really provides a nice bright canvas for you to work from. And that's really, for me, it's more about the background than the actual the bug, because lighting the bug is sort of second nature, but finding a place to put the bug in, meaning the backdrop, it's kind of like a seamless, right? So you want to try to find that. And either sometimes it may be like a environmental shot where you kind of know where it is, and other times it might be like that clean red or blue where I'm shooting against something that's solid that I can get and register as that color.
Can you tell us a little bit about the exhibitions that you have had?
Sure. The most recent, well, I guess I'll start. I could say the first one started from the Atelier program is the group one, and from there it had my first solo show at the Hopkinton Center for the Arts in Hopkinton, Mass.
Okay. Do you live near there?
I live in Arlington, so it was a little ways away,
bit
but it was great to get out of my area, where I'm at, and bring it to somewhere else. And then it traveled from there to the Mass Audubon's Boston Nature Center.
Where's that?
It's in Mattapan, downtown. I think it's not too far from the Franklin Park Zoo.
Oh. Who knew?
Yeah, it's a great location. There's beautiful trails and butterfly gardens and bee colonies, and they do a great job over there with, especially with kids. They have a lot of programs.
Did a lot of kids come?
Yeah, a lot of kids. Yeah, they enjoyed it, and I learned from both of those places that that's kind of where the feedback came from. The kids come in and they ask, they put their own personas on the bugs and name them. So
I hope we get some kids in here. So the framing that you did of these peoples, or these peoples, these bug peoples,
right.
it's a little untraditional. Can you describe that?
Yes, it was recommended recommended to me actually by Meg.
Yeah.
She suggested, have you thought about printing on metal? And I printed on metallic paper, but not on an actual metal sheet. And so she had showed me some work, and I loved it. So I was like, I'll try that. So for that exhibition, we ran it on the smaller 16-inch. They're white-based metal, so when you print, the whites will print white. If you have some nice highlights, it translates. So I think it's an aluminum metal or aluminum, and it's not gloss, so you can get it in a gloss finish or a luster. So it's a luster finish on it, and it's what I like about it is there's no glass.
Yes.
And you're right there. I mean, there's nothing in between you and what you can see.
Well, and you've made it through 2 exhibitions or 3 exhibitions without any damage.
Yeah, and the shipping containers have been great too. So the cardboard boxes that they ship in, and it's been solid.
Your workshop, when is that?
August 24th, Saturday.
Okay.
From
at the Griffin?
At the Griffin, yep.
Oh, nice.
From 10 to 2, and we'll do a couple hours, 2 hours inside of kind of lecture and theory, and then we'll go out into the Griffin yard and see what we can find in there, and I can shadow everyone that's in the class to help assist, whether I'm gripping for the light or holding the light or assisting with what the composition is.
I think I'm going to take that class.
All right, well, I hope so.
One of the things you have in the exhibition I think is really great is some kind of a map or log of, but it's done in a graphic way, very attractive. Can you speak about that?
Yes, thank you. So the whole Patio Life was created in my backyard. So to give context to where everything was found, I got up on the roof and shot an overhead shot of the backyard, and then numbered and created all these head icons of where the bugs were found and shot. We have a nice identification guide of about 60 or so of the insects, so you can actually see where they were all found and shot. So I mean, you don't have to, in the book that goes along with it, it closes in the artist statement saying you don't have to go far to find interesting neighbors. So I mean, this is all in your backyard, and I live in Arlington, and it's not some exotic wild place with these things, but this all stuff is there in all of our yards if we look closely.
So did this stop you from stepping on spiders?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Me too.
Now it's like if I find them, I'll take something and kind of get them outside, or carefully deliver them outdoors if they're inside, or get them off the table or your food or whatever. But it's been try to be careful now.
Thanks for joining us on the premiere edition of Optics, featured artist in the Griffin Gallery at WinCAM. Patio Life by photographer Jamie Collins will be on display in the gallery from June 13th to September 17th and is free and open to the public during WinCAM's regular hours of operation. For more information on the Griffin Gallery at WinCAM or other programs offered at the Griffin or at WinCAM, please feel free to call or email at any time. And thank you so much for watching.